Today, I would like to talk briefly about um, the modeling aspect of parenting. So, as parents, we're actually creating models with our parenting activities. And it is very important for us to understand how this impacts our children, how the models we are creating impacts our children. I'll use a very good example from the scriptures. The man Lot, like we know, he was Abraham's uh, nephew. He grew up with Abraham, and because of the influence of Abraham, he actually became so wealthy that at the time there are issues between his own workers and those of Abraham, and they had to separate. In choosing where to go, the Bible said he chose a place that is close to Sodom. But as time went by, he was no longer living close to Sodom. He was actually living in Sodom. When God was about to judge Sodom and Gomorrah, and God went to him, the Bible said he went to his son-in-laws who married his daughters. He couldn't convince any one of them to follow him. He left hesitantly, despite the fact that there was rain of destruction coming. He was so accustomed to living in Sodom that he was hesitant about leaving. He had to be pushed out of the city by angels. And when he left the city, went to the mountain, on his way, the wife turned back and became pillar of salt. So he left Sodom very empty. He had only 2 daughters. And these 2 daughters, they looked at the models that their parents gave to them or made to them, and they actually left as perverted daughters. That in their time of need, they couldn't find the right solution to life. They wanted to have children, and the best way they could think about is for them to get their father drunk and get pregnant through him. And that was what actually happened. So you can imagine that when Abraham needed a wife for his son Isaac, despite the fact that Lot was living close by, it was impossible for Abraham to tell Eliezer to go and pick a girl from that family. Lot and his wife did not model the right things for the children. That's the only way they became perverted. So as parents, we have to live in consciousness of this part of our lives, that whatever you are doing, your children are going to pick them up and replicate them in a way that you yourself might be astonished. So it's your responsibility to look at your life. Anything that you think will not contribute to the success of your children, that you discard it. That you have to live with the grace of God, with the help of God, to be able to model the right image for your children. And one particular aspect that we also have to take cognizance of is the way you live your life tells your children about who God is. You are going to be the first description of God to them. If you live in righteousness, if you live quarrelsome, if you live in holiness, if you live trouble-free, or you live in different atrocities, you are just basically modeling God to them. So there's no way you can preach to your children about God and you live a different way, and you will think that they will believe in God after your talk without your lifestyle impacting them. For example, as a father, if you say to them that God is a forgiving father, do you demonstrate forgiveness to your children? You have to. So you need to model God, you need to model good practices, you need to model good things to your children. You can't be telling your children to study, to be studious, and they see you that you're lounging around. You don't have the right work ethics. We are always telling them, yeah, you have to study your books. No, it doesn't work like that. If you wanted to study their books, you have to model the right work ethics to them. So you see, in the way we interact with them, different actions are generating different emotions, are generating different results, are generating different perception. So the most important thing that we have to bear in mind is we are the models that our children are looking